Everybody to the Rival StarCraft League round of 16. We are in our Group C now. In Group C, we have Dana, Teffel, Monty, and Snovsky.
Yes,
Our
indeed.
first match will be between, I believe it is, Teffel and Monty. It will be a PvZ. I'm Koshkii. With me is JaKaTaK. How are you doing tonight, JaKaTaK?
I'm pretty good. I want to say, apologize officially to Ninkazi in the chat. We have started 5 minutes late and or so, and he's been triggered. And, here at the RSL, we like to make sure we're taking care of you all. And, we really appreciate Ninkazi, expressing your opinions to us. But in all seriousness, it's going to be an excellent match tonight. We got some Protoss, so Koshkii, I'm sure, is very happy about that.
Ooh, we've got some PvZ. I am extra happy. My favorite matchup, very, very dear to my heart.
Yeah, and we're going to have two of them right in a row.
I know.
This is what, actually, you might be the happiest girl in the world, because this might be, depending on who wins and who loses, an entire day of PvZ. It's possible with this setup.
I'm actually hoping for that. I love to watch PvZ. I love to cast PvZ. It's a good time.
Do you love to play PvZ as well?
Yes, I do actually. I absolutely adore PvZ, and my Zerg opponents don't.
Are you one of those players, like you're a matchup specialist, just like 80%, 20%, 20% for win rates?
I'm gonna probably regret saying this, but my PvZ is about 70%.
Wow.
And my PvP is where things are lacking at about, let's round up and say 18%.
Oh man, yeah. That's one of those lopsided things, they come and you're just like, man, this one matchup, there's some critical piece missing there, and then
I'm working on it though.
Yeah.
I've been spending all day working on it.
Very good, very good. Getting some focused practice in. First up, we are gonna have Monty versus Teffel, and we are gonna be on Dust Towers. So you love PvZ. Tell me what you love about it. What's awesome about PvZ? Why should all Zergs fear you on the ladder? Need to know.
Well, the reason I personally love PvZ, especially to watch, is there's a lot of different things that a Protoss player in particular, can do in the matchup. There's a lot of different tech paths. You can go air, you can go robo, you can go 2-base all in, you can even go 3-base all in, you can go for disruptors, you can go for Immortal Charge-Lot Archon. There's just a lot of different things that you can do in PvZ. My personal favorite thing to do in PvZ is to do a 2-base MO Charge-Lot all in with a DT follow-up. So just in case you haven't rushed hard enough with the MOs and the Charge-Lots, you can just throw DTs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a personal favorite build of mine. I really adore that build.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, if at first you don't succeed, all in again, and build all the dirtiest of Protoss units. In this matchup, the Immortal, like you were saying, it is this critical piece of the Protoss army in this setup. Zerg players tend to be going for a range setup, so that means roaches, so they're going to get blasted to pieces. Ravagers, actually not their armor type is, because they don't have any hit points. Large, wind will blow them over and they will explode. And then you have the lurkers, which can be very, very difficult, but if you get a nice Immortal spread, and as long as you have your observers in place and you make sure they're not getting sniped, a lot of times the Immortals will just trade really cost effectively against lurkers on the ground.
Definitely. It's, it seems kind of strange that, MO Charge-Lot Archon could do so well versus lurkers, but it actually works out pretty well if you're careful.
Mm-hmm. And it seemed like my camera went crazy there for a sec. We're back. I think Skype's like, hey, Comcast is throttling your bitrate right now, and as a result, you can't actually do anything. So we've replaced your router with a potato, and we hope that it will help out with your problem. Thank you, Comcast. You're such an amazing company that does great work all the time.
I know the Comcast struggle. I used to have a company affiliated with them for my ISP back in the day, and I was not pleased with it sometimes.
Yeah. But don't have to worry about looking at my very pixelated face for much longer. We're getting right into the game here. We got Dust Towers, PVZ. Gonna be a lot of fun, especially that central area of the map. We get to the later stages of the game. This is one of those maps that I think really, really cool. You can get these split map scenarios, super late game. Lurkers are just like, you're not going anywhere. Air toss, anything's possible. We do have spawning in the bottom left. It is the Teal Zerg. He is Tefl.
And his opponent spawning in the top right. We have our red Protoss. It is Monty. So standard stuff so far from both players. Like not an early pool is what I mean by that. Tefl not going for super aggression, looking like he is actually going to go hatch first now, and Monty opening up pretty standard. Also wouldn't surprise me to see him get a Nexus here pretty soon as well, doing that standard gate expand. Do have our hatchery down. And as I said, it looks like this is going to be a Nexus here soon from Monty. He is rallying his Nexus down by the gateway, making it look like he is going to go for the Cyber Core first before that Nexus. And we do actually have a 3 hatch before pool here for Tefl.
Yeah, 3 hatch before pool becoming more and more common in this matchup, even without a drone scout. A lot of the Zergs are starting to hive-mind it up, and they're just sort of like, you know, just like, yeah, just build a couple of hatches. What are they going to do? Pile on rush you? And then they do, and you die. But it's that kind of weird thing where, despite the fact that Legacy of the Void's been out for, you know, a few months now, we're still kind of adjusting. The metagame is very much still adjusting to this economy change, starting with more workers and mining out faster. We have this move towards, it's like, wait a minute, you know what? No, if I Nexus first, the Zerg can't touch me because I can do this and this. It's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. It's like, well, if you're going to Nexus first, and I'm going to 2 hatch before pool. It's like, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to 2 Nexus before gate. And then, you know, it just gets out of hand, and then someone 6 pulls someone else, you know, kills off 6 of their drones and then pulls, and it's like, hey, I'm really all in here, and then makes it happen. So it's like, it comes back, you know, people get a little bit more reasonable after all that goes down. But like you said, we do have the very economic openers here. And
one interesting choice here for Monty is he has gone for the earlier Twilight Council. He is making some adepts. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe he started making resonating glaives, and there we have it.
Yep. Looks like Monty's going to be increasing his adepts per minute this game. Very important metric for all Protoss players. Adepts, very powerful. And usually you'll have some kind of double adept aggression early on with a couple of gates. But this is going to be a 1-gate variation, like you said, sort of getting the early Twilight Council and pushing the gates off until later. So the initial adepts aren't going to be super, super powerful. And that's going to allow less Zerglings to have to come out here. 6 Zerglings. A lot of times when you have that double adept pressure, you're more of a 8 Zerglings kind of Zerg. But we have the Roach Warren coming down in preparation for that mid game. And yeah, this is just one of those games that we're just moving kind of right into the mid game. Both players sort of shaking hands, be like, early game shenanigans, let's just skip those, right to the mid game. Okay, sounds good. Shake on, you know, go to your corner, and then come out fighting. So we will see a bit of that. Going to poke forward CV. This is a pretty quick third.
Yeah, this is a pretty quick third here from our Protoss player. Tefl, he does see it. He is getting a Roach Warren behind this and a lair as well. Roaches do trade pretty well versus Adepts. However, when Adepts do have Resonating Glaives, they do quite a bit more damage, so
yeah, absolutely.
quite a few Roaches will be needed if these really start to put on the pressure.
Yep, and that's when you see the Protoss start to make a bit more Stalkers, kind of mixing them up. because of the range and the DPS against armored and stalkers actually have 10 more hit points. Very small amount, but generally speaking, actually mathematically speaking, the stalker will trade more cost efficiently against roaches than the adept, even if the adept has resonating glaives. A lot of harass coming in here, making good use of that shade. Might just stay down here. A lot of juicy drones. Nope, just getting out. Unfortunately, runs right into some roaches, and this is a pretty good defense so far by Tefl.
Yeah, Tefl holding pretty well versus adept aggression. This isn't exactly an adept all-in, but
No, not at all.
yeah, still does some pretty decent damage. 8
Ooh, there
drones
it
lost
is.
so far. 10 drones now.
Yeah, 12. My God. These two, it's really all about these two in the front. Look at this, 7 kills, 4 kills. That made the whole attack happen. So really good attention sort of abusing here by Monty, pushing all the attention over into the natural and then just sending 2 adepts in. That was an amazing defense. Only 2 workers killed, and then those 2 adepts killed 15 by themselves in the third.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal for Tefl right now. He has to remake all of those drones, has to use all that larva for this. And behind this, we do have a robo coming out for Monty, so this will be pretty. This will work pretty well versus the roaches that are already on the field.
No immortals yet. It's a pretty nice compositional advantage here for the Zerg player, but you really got to respect that cannon. The the pylon cannon, not the cannon. You don't have to respect that. You can like destroy that easy, but. Yeah, not going to be too big of a deal. The pylon cannon now, the photon overcharge, is very powerful, but lasts a lot less, lasts less long. So you pull back a little bit, per energy that is. You pull back a little bit, and then move into it, and you're going to be a-okay. Immortals on the way. This is interesting. Tefl just kind of keeping this force out here. I don't feel like he can get anything done with it. Yeah, and he's going to move, I think, all the way home.
Yeah, and behind this, though, he is getting a lurker den.
Mm-hmm.
So this could work out pretty well still for Tefl. Getting a huge amount of lurkers can really drive a Protoss player insane.
Yeah, absolutely. The lurker, really the sort of core of the Zerg army. If you don't have the lurker in this matchup, it's very, very difficult to hold any Protoss aggression on the ground. And starting that lurker den nice and early is really, really important. It is the longest thing you can build in the game. 86 seconds, tied only with the carrier for Protoss. So you really got to get that going nice and early, so that way by the time the attack does come, you are prepared. And even though we're about 10 or so seconds, 20 seconds off, this attack is moving forward. Might hit before lurkers are possible. It might be a really good timing to hit.
Yeah, I think this is a great time for Monty to hit. That lurker den not yet finished. That hive is also in completion now for Tefl, so he has put some money into that. However, Monty moving forward, nice force fields here.
Very nice force fields, able to shave off just a few units of the Zerg at a time. Can start to move down a little bit as there's less forces over here. Start force field from the left side. Lurkers are incoming. Tefl's trying to hold. He needs to get these lurkers out.
The lurkers looking like they're going to finish soon, but Monty does see them now in formation.
Oh, he blinks on top of them. But they get burrowed. Oh, and this is the point where Monty's got to turn around. The lurkers are complete, burrowed, and dealing so much damage. It's time to go home. It was a really nice attempt. It hit at an excellent time. But I don't know. I feel like maybe that positioning in the choke wasn't quite as good for Monty as he would have liked. Maybe moving a little bit more south towards the hatchery. The damage he got done was only to the army. Tefl's economy is so strong right now, and he's going to be able to rebuild that army really, really quickly.
Yeah, we're going to see that.
Ooh, nice bit of harass here.
Quite a bit of army made, but yeah, as you said, Monty warping in so many adepts now.
Oh, nice cancel. That was such a phenomenal cancel. All of the slow-moving Hydras move all the way into the natural, and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to hang out over here. I kill all the Zerglings that you sent to try and finish me off, and it failed. Failed miserably. Going to jump over here. 10 workers killed over here. Focus firing with 4, unfortunately, not exactly the way that you want to do that. Lurker, by the way, sneakily burrowed here in the in the natural of Tefl. It's one of those things you can start to do late game in this matchup. It's a bit expensive, but oftentimes it can save your life. Borrowing a lurker here and there in your mineral lines or about your hatchery in the areas where you think aggression will be coming in.
So I think that attack really put Monty in a place where he's more comfortable after that initial attack go completely planned.
Yeah, he's warping in more depths here. The reaction is pretty good, but the army is generally speaking out of position. Going to take down probably this queen. Looks like she's going to barely get away.
Ooh, barely survives there.
Moving into the natural, that lurker helping out a bit, but looks like the shade is going to be sent out again. Oh, man. And, big lurker burrow here. See you later, Adepts. I love the way that the lurker and the zergling work so well together. The zergling sort of locking down any units in the area. You saw that there with the defense of the harass, but you can also see that in the main army engagements as well. Wrapping around, flanking with the lings, holding them in place, and the lurkers just blast them apart with spines.
It looks like Ethel does want to move over. A bit tired of that harass. He is actually making ultras at this moment now, too. But this army from Monty, it's a pretty strong army still. Charge a lot, Immortal Archon, and he's got a few sentries mixed in with some Blink Stalkers. It's a pretty good looking army.
If I know anything about StarCraft based on cinematics, the Archon beats the Ultralisk. So because of that, you know, the Archon has the suck you into space from the, from that cinematic there. And if they do that, it's going to be kind of amazing. But unfortunately, it turns out that no, there's a difference between the cinematic and the actual game. Very sad.
It is. I want my Archons to do that.
Yeah, I want landed Vikings versus Ultralisks as well.
Exactly.
That's really where it's at. All right, whoa, Chart getting really aggressive. Ooh, I don't know about that move. Very, very ballsy move with the lurkers, and he's going to lose his aggressive lurkers for that. The engagement is happening. These lurkers on the side are doing some work, but, oh, man, I don't know about that at all.
Yeah.
Moving forward there, trying to get something done. This move into lurkers, into Ultralisk is a bit weird to me. I haven't seen too many late game ZVPs just yet, so maybe this is sort of a thing that's normal and happens quite a bit, but
there's
with
so
all those
many
immortals,
yeah.
I'm not really seeing it. I feel like moving into maybe Broodlords might be a little bit better, but Tefl's a great player, so I'm sure this has worked well for him in practice before.
GG.
Unfortunately, not this time. No, Monty with excellent initial timing, very, very good harass, a lot of workers killed.
Yeah.
He's going to take game one here.
And even in that final engagement, Monty was still warping in Adepts. He was fighting against Tefl's army that had moved forward, and at the same time, he's warping in Adepts at two different fronts. They're going in harassing, and he's really multitasking well there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have to see what happens next game. Those are really strong performance, I feel, by Monty. The harass was out of control.
Yeah.
All of Tefl's attacks were sort of just like, get out of my face, man. Like, what are you even doing right now? That little roach laying in the front, like, oh, maybe he'll be able to do something. There's like nothing. One pylon overcharge, he's like, all right, I can't do anything. Moves up the ramp again, and he looks, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, forget about it. I'm screwed.
And if I remember correctly, maybe it was last week or the week before that we saw Monty. He was very strong on the harass then, too. He never ceases to kind of amaze me at how well he can multitask.
Absolutely. Multitasking, super critical. It's one of the things that makes StarCraft. It's one of the things that, separates us from the other esports. And it's pretty cool stuff. Next map will be Arena, so very unique map over here. Short rush system by air as well. You got that bridge.
One thing that's been kind of popular, and I think I've seen Monty do it, is going for an early Stargate and going into Phoenix and really getting a good match with Phoenix, doing a lot of harass with them, and then bringing Adepts on the field and harassing with Adepts at the same time you're, hitting with Phoenix. And it can be, it can be harass or it can be just completely lethal. And I'm wondering it because Arena, like you said, is very close rush distances, both by ground and air, if we might see something like that in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. A lot of madness happens on this map. Occasionally, we do get ourselves into a long macro game because of the multiple attack path. Sometimes we have that base trade scenario happening as well. But I feel for the most part, Blizzard has sort of accomplished what they want to accomplish: map diversity, sort of movement, if you want to call it that. And Arena is played differently. You see different games on Arena most of the time. You don't have your normal. I mean, maybe the unit composition is the same, sure, but StarCraft is a lot more than just unit composition. The positioning and the tactics and the timing in which attacks occur, all of that changes around quite a bit, and especially the openers. When you are in a situation where you have this short rush distance, then you have to open differently. What was once a safe build is now a greedy build. What was once an aggressive build, it's like, oh yeah, you're just playing safe. It's like 14-14 on Arena. It's sort of like, oh yeah, okay, just make sure you got units for the attack that might come in. Okay, it's a little bit insane, but I think that Monty's going to be able to perform pretty well here if he continues that War Prism Wrath, like you said. It's a good map for that. He can, do aggression at the third, things like that. But I wonder if Tefl will go for something like an early pool here to cut into that moment in time where Monty seems to be so strong.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what this next game is going to bring. I think Monty said 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
But yeah.
That's okay. I'm pretty sure.
No worries.
We're getting there. We're getting almost to the 2-minute marker of things and stuff. How's your move going? Are you totally moved? Are you feeling fantastic right now?
I am doing pretty well. I moved back in like December. I'd say I'm almost done. I've still got things that I'm like, I should unpack this.
Yeah, that's actually one of those things. I moved here almost a year ago to Atlanta, and I still have some things in boxes. And it's just sort of like, it's actually, I was at my chiropractor in Rhode Island when I was first moving to California, and he was like, okay, here's a trick, and I'm going to pass this on to all you viewers. Here's a trick. If you're going to move, only take things out of boxes that you actually use. And if it's been a while, look at the stuff that you have in the boxes. You very clearly don't need them anymore. And it's time to get rid of them, or maybe they're the sentimental value things. You leave them in the box, fine. But it's this nice little sort of game that you can play with yourself and be like, how many things do I actually need? It's just like, oh, wow, I have a bunch of useless things. Good to know. And,
I like that idea.
Yeah. So, and also, it dissuades all of the guilt of like, oh man, I really need to unpack. It's like, no, this is what I'm doing.